pussy right. Go talk to Barrett too, cause I done fed up. You done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up of the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1,500 US, and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up of the unemployment.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su?
Nung em. Ông hiểu. Nung em.
A pleasant good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. That last clip. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Over to You. Welcome to Over to You, a program for the people, by the people. How are you guys doing this evening? I want to thank you guys very much for having me in your space this evening, guys. Thank you so much allowing Bench Cop Radio 107.1 FM and your program Over to You to have the latitude of being in your space for the next hour or so as we discuss pertinent things in relation to our country. Yes, our country, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. It is still our country. All right, it's being sold out slowly, but we're fighting, right? We are fighting. Okay, it's because you guys are freedom fighters, hence the reason you're here this evening. Welcome to the program. The broader Caribbean, North America, the UK, all across Europe, Australia, New Zealand, wherever you're watching from the continent of South Africa. And let's get down on the ground in Guyana also. The people of Pleasance, Victoria, BV, Triumph, Buxton, yes, all along the East Bank. Good evening, the entire East Coast, West Coast. Good evening, Barbies. Good evening. Welcome to the program. How are you guys doing today? Good evening, Miss Vashti Magnot, Carlisle Madhu. Good evening, Matthew Dennison. Welcome to the program. Sharma E. Grant Melville. Welcome, Mr. Victor Ben, the Honorable Mr. Victor Ben. Welcome to the program. Bantu King, good to see you, sir. Honorable as well. Miss Marlene Thomas. Welcome, Miss Brenda Braithwaite. Good to see you. Guys, please, you know the normal thing that we do, our little administrative work we do for our program, our investment. Like the program, share the link so that we can share what we have to share here this evening with as many as possible. Mavis Davis Wells, good evening. Sandra Hanover, pleasant good evening to you. Lynette Fraser, good evening. Darkus John, Miss Desiree Simons, the Honorable Miss Desiree Simons, it's a pleasure seeing you this evening. Miss Mary Figueroa, good to see you also. Ingrid Carter, Truth, good to see you too. Welcome, welcome, Sherwin James. Welcome, Linda Dainty. Welcome to the program. Miss Desiree Smart Felix from New Amsterdam. Welcome. All right, we're going to get going now. We're going to get going. Yes, Janet Johnson, I see you. And Kit, I see you too. Miss Brenda Casey, I see you. Siobhan McDonald, I see you too. Good evening again, guys. Welcome, welcome to Over to You. Now, where are we going to start this evening? All right, let's start with the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy. And it continues. It continues. And before I dig into that, let me say this. All right, many props to the Village Voice. You're looking for authentic, unbiased news? Please pick up a copy of the Village Voice, visit them online, make sure that you have Village Voice as part of your whole Facebook. You know, the Village Voice pushes out pertinent news out there, all right, that we all need to keep up with, okay? So please support the Village Voice. It is very important. I know Chronicle and these kind of Starbuck news has been around for years, but I see a lot of corruption there. So let's focus on the Village Voice, ladies and gentlemen. Village Voice, that's where I get my news from. All right, we're going to dig in a little bit here to the Guyana-Venezuela controversy. So we see that Venezuela is infringing, okay, on Guyana's territory. We saw the warship out there, okay. When we see things of this nature, I want to know what goes through your minds, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that we don't have an army that can stand up to Venezuela. Let's be honest. Let's be honest here. We don't. We know that we don't. We're smart enough. We know that. So that's a given. That's a fact, right? It's not Wayne Caesar's opinion. It's a fact. Now, I don't know if you guys are seeing the trend that I am seeing, but I'm sure you are, because you guys are brilliant. You guys are brilliant. And you guys, I know you guys would have acknowledged that the PPP does not engage, or at times doesn't even acknowledge the opposition. Look, for example, at the flag raising ceremony, a late apology coming in. Sorry, we forgot to invite you. You forgot the opposition, when it is you and the opposition that must come together to make a government. Ladies and gentlemen, for the most part, Guyana doesn't have a government, you know, because both parties it takes to make a government, right? You need to be working together, right? So it appears as if Venezuela is the one that brings about a government in Guyana, only when Venezuela decides to infringe, you know, or disregard the rules. The PPP is calling on the opposition to come, let's meet, come, let's discuss. And from what I've understood from the latest news that I would have gotten, is that the opposition is going to engage with them. Now, we remember the last controversy with Venezuela. What happened? The opposition engaged with them. You know, I'm sure that they got pertinent information and pertinent advice from the opposition with regards to the Venezuela issue. But once that toned down, it was back to business as usual. So I'm saying all of this to say, how long are we going to continue to have the PPP in this posture where they're not engaging the opposition, but when these important issues come up where Venezuela is infringing on Guyana territory, encroaching on Guyana territory, is in Guyana territory, then you want to engage the opposition. And on the side of the opposition also, don't you guys believe that there should be continuous engagement and not partial engagement? Because the posture that you guys take, you know, smart people on the ground in Guyana, these people are getting wise. They're watching programs. They're watching a lot of programs. And on these programs, we talk a lot of pertinent things that are important to Guyana. So the people are knowledging up. right? I just wish that, we had more people working on the ground to bring that knowledge and to bring a vision to the people. But as far as watching these programs, they're knowledge enough. And when they see that the opposition is not engaged by the lead party in government, but it's only at the time when Venezuela is encroaching on Guyana, they're engaged, then people are going to start thinking, hey, are these two parties working together? Because, hey, it makes sense for two parties to work and suppress a people. I'm not saying that is what is happening, right? But if they're working together and they're at the top of the country all the time, everybody's getting paid, right? Who gives a crap about the little man? Who gives a crap about the 53% that is dealing with poverty? This segues into this. I know many of you would have seen what would have occurred at the White House. I believe it was on Thursday. That concerned me. And then to see that ship out there in Guyana waters, it concerned me even more. Right? I don't like to delve in too much to US politics because we're dealing with Guyana here. But the trend and the proposal that was made to the Ukraine president was stunning. Was despicable. And I ask myself when I see that, I say, how are the smaller nations to develop if this is the position of the larger nations? Let's look at it, guys. Let's evaluate this. I must have half of your special minerals, your important, valid minerals. And this thing with Venezuela just show up all of a sudden again. But ladies and gentlemen, we don't know to the extent that there are inner workings here where Venezuela is going to encroach. And then Guyana is going to be presented with an offer. We want more than we are getting. And also we want to tap into your precious minerals. We see where the world is going, right? We're seeing, right? It's not a good place, man. It's not a good place. It's a valueless world. Okay? The world is moving forward, but our bag of values, our bag of integrity, our bag to be ethical is all being left behind. So we are moving forward without important baggage that we need. Most of us growing up, we were taught to be ethical. We were taught values. We came into this world with our integrity. Right? I know for sure that mine is not for sale. I wouldn't give up my integrity for anything. Back to Venezuela. Our army in Guyana is not equipped to deal with Venezuela on any level. And I don't believe that they are trained enough. I was saddened when I heard that those GDF officers were shot at and a few of them got hit, amongst other things. Because I try to put myself in the shoes of these individuals, ladies and gentlemen. You going out there, you're putting your life at risk for a minimal salary, for minimal salary. You're not guaranteed a piece of land. You're not guaranteed anything. Okay? You're just treated regular. These are the men and women that is charged with protecting Guyana. Not Irfan Ali, not Anil Nandala, not Bara Jagdeo. And I'm not hitting the cane cutters. I'm not hitting sugar workers. But not sugar workers either. Because sugar workers is the one who seems to always get a raise. Sugar workers get whatever they want. What about the men and women of the Guyana Defense Force? What about the men and the women of the Guyana Defense Force? And then those of you who are critical, and there's many out there that are critical of Guyanese of African descent. How do you feel now? Because I'm sure 90% of the army is made up by Guyanese of African descent. It might be less, it might be 85%, it might be 80% right now. At the top of the Guyana Defense Force sits a gentleman of Indo descent. What if those soldiers choose not to adhere because they feel like if their lives are at risk? What if? So when you go to talk, you got to be very, very careful how you talk. When you go to talk and when you go to say that Guyana is yours, and people want to claim and act like if they have the title to Guyana in their hands, you're not thinking deep enough. Who has to defend you? That's food for thought. When the rubber hits the road, who has to defend you? You're going to send the sugar workers to the border? Irfan Ali, Jagdeo, and Anil Nandalal, you guys are going to jump in your executive vehicles and you guys are going to head to the border and push up your chest and be at the front of the line? You guys need to start treating the Guyanese people and giving them the equity they deserve in their own country. And you people of Guyana, you all need to start stepping up. You all need to start stepping up. You all are too dormant. This is why you all are being treated the way you are. I call on the opposition leader to be transparent with what once it's not top secret. I call on him to be transparent to the people as to what would have occurred in that meeting in detail. This is not a game of secrecy. There's many times I've jumped to the opinion that the people of Guyana just need to get together and understand that on the ground they have smart enough people capable of leading Guyana and just take away all these politicians, these recycled politicians who keep repeating the same things over and over and over again. It's like dummies that are never learning. When this thing occurred with Venezuela and the PPP would have engaged the opposition and asked for a meeting, the opposition should have get together with all stakeholders and call their own press conference. Why call a press conference with the lead party that doesn't engage you on other pertinent issues? They should have engaged the opposition on the cash grant. They should have engaged the opposition when it comes to COVID. Right? There's so many that they should have engaged the opposition and allowed the 2 members of the opposition to sit on the NRF. They should have also allowed the opposition to get their fair chances at NCN, their fair broadcasting time on NCN. I am tired of seeing the same repetitive nonsense with this opposition. We got to get serious. We have these programs, guys, and we pick up momentum. But the momentum needs to transition to the ground. Dr. Hines is doing his thing. I like what Dr. Hines is doing. He's doing his thing. He's in the face of the people every week. I support all the leaders in the opposition. What I don't support is nonsense. I support every one of the leaders in the opposition. I have no problem with none of them. I have no problem with their abilities either. What I have a problem with is that I feel as if the Guyanese people are being shortchanged, and shortchanged tremendously. $100,000 cash grant distributing, Vibes Cartel introducing. Ladies and gentlemen, and it's not just that alone. I received a call from a prominent person who works in clubs, and he said, Wayne, you're doing what you're doing, but you need to see what is happening here. People are partying every single night. We got to get better, man. Guyanese, you got to get better. You just can't keep feeding into the rich. You keep feeding into the rich. You complain about how rich these people are. You are the ones that are enriching them. You don't see how quick that vice president just jump on this thing and say, oh, you can't boycott this, you can't boycott that. The message has been sent. You know what to do. Vibes Cartel can't bring you a house lot, but saving in your $100,000 and having your brother and sister and y'all pooling and y'all trying to build up enough to get a piece of land makes some sense. Gives you an asset. Going to a show one night, you go, you hand off your money, you buy up, you dress up and everything, you buy your ticket, you go, the show go on the night, the show done. Where do you go? What are you going back to? The same limbo to begin with. We got to get serious, man. Look, the protests at GCOM. And thanks to you, Miss Rhonda Lane. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I received a call from Rhonda Lane earlier tonight. I received a call from her. And I just want to share her sentiments. It aligned with what I said earlier. She said that she does not believe that the leader of the opposition should meet with the PPPC with regard to the border issue. And you know what? You could look at that and say, look, she has a point. She has a very, very good point. You just can't continue to have the PPP paint Guyana with their narrative. All right? Another thing with the opposition. I'm going to talk a little bit about you guys this evening. What's going on with your internal apparatus? What's going on internally? We need some strength internally. We need some togetherness internally. We need to see some optics that is displaying that there's internal unity, internal harmony. Because to have everything a secret, and then in the end, you come out with a lawful election, I don't know how you guys are going to console the people of Guyana. I have no idea how you're going to console the people of Guyana. This is the time. This is the time where it all has to be laid on the line. This is not time to play around. Oh, if we protest, the PPP is going to send in their people, and we make some lame excuses. We make some lame excuses. That's a stupid excuse. That means that you are preempting. You are preempting that they are going to send in people, you understand me, to disturb your, what would be what? You know, non-violent protest. You cannot preempt. That's not good strategy. You cannot preempt. When Barajagio and the PPP had their protests, when they were sitting in opposition from 2015 to 2020, did you send people into the crowd to disturb their protests? You did not. So why are you worrying about that? They're sending their people. Then you guys know what you have to do. You guys know what you have to do. But to say that, oh, we're going to stand back, something was promised. And if something was promised, it was promised in writing. I know people has come out, oh, State Department, this State Department what? State Department what? We had a human rights delegation down to Guyana. We had multiple delegations from the United States down to Guyana. What equity have you gotten out of those visits? Look, influential people need to stop coming onto Facebook and telling the Guyanese people nonsense. Nobody's going to help you guys. You guys have to help yourself. That's what it is. Oh, there are sanctions against this person. There are sanctions against that person. Forget the sanctions. That's just to present optics to you guys, to distract you guys from what's happening. What's happening with the two lead parties in Guyana is a bundle of stupidity. They're not engaging each other. Nothing is not happening. They're just getting rich at the top. And the resources of Guyana is being extracted and taken away. That is what's happening. So when I see some people sit down, talk to them, my vice president, tell them, you're dumb. You're dunce. You're not thinking. That vice president is having all your resources taken out of your country and taken somewhere else. And you're not getting any equity for it. We need to use this up here, our brains. We're not using our brains. Somebody drive up in the village with a Lamborghini or a car, everybody flock around that person ready to worship that person. So I ask the Guyanese people, what confidence do you have in yourself if you're so quickly ready to worship somebody else? Like I said before, we are all born human beings. We are all born equal. We all have the capability of learning. We all have the capability of learning. You know, the Honorable Amansa Walton this year had once used a statement with regards to people being lazy with their brain. They're not thinking. Now, tell me where she's wrong. Tell me where she's wrong when she said people are mentally lazy. We are not thinking. We get up every day and we go and we do the same thing every day. But let's think long term. What equity is it bringing to us? Is it positioning, pivoting where our children will be in a better position in the future? Have Barry Jagdi or any of the other politicians in the PPP come out and say, here is our vision for the 53% of Guyanese that living in poverty. Over the next 7 years, we plan to do this, this, and this to eradicate poverty. Have you guys seen a vision of that nature? You guys are killing me here. Then you see some people come out. They can't even write properly. They can't even speak properly, but they're cursing people on Facebook. You can't write. You can't speak, but you're cursing. The same man that you guys are praising, that same man had Guyana on this thumb for 23 straight years. Nobody have not shown me the growth in the country in those 23 years, you know. I know it's 23 years of non-oil, but where's the growth? Was there an economy? What happened? 23 years is a long time. But I was watching a program, guys, and I hear somebody came on and they were speaking. Not going to call the person name, but they said Barry Jagdeo is a genius. What genius? I beg to differ with what that person had to say. What genius? Barry Jagdeo sits there and say what he has to say and do what he has to do unchallenged. There's no genius in what he's doing. He is unchallenged. Nobody's challenging him head on. For what reason? I don't know. Nobody's challenging him head on. Genius? I beg to differ. I beg to differ. I would embarrass Barry Jagdeo on any stage. I beg so much to differ. You're going to call that a genius? Man, look, ain't nobody that have blood on their hands could be a genius. All right? I would bring my ethics. All right? I would bring my integrity. I would bring my love for the Guyanese people. All right? And I'll bring my educational pedigree to the table against you, Barry Jagdeo, any day. Y'all don't see what you guys do in Guyana? You guys don't even have debates. That's how sick Guyana is. You guys have no debates whatsoever. You don't know who have an economic compass and who does not. You guys just get up and go to work every day and take it for what it is. And as long as you continue to do that, what's happening today is going to continue to happen. You're going to be sitting in Guyana, and right under your eyes, your country will be sold. Right under your own eyes, your country will be sold. We have to get serious. This is serious times. Guys, we're months away. We are a few months away from elections. We are a few months away from elections. Where is the merger between the PNCR and the AFC? Where is the merger? Where is the merger? We've been calling for this since last year. Leaders have to understand, no matter what you do, you're going to still need the people. So you have to do certain things to please the people, because you're going to need them. You can't do everything on your terms because you're the leader. You're representing an entire people. You're representing a country. You're representing many constituencies. We have to do better. We have to do better. It looks like if no biometrics is gonna happen, it looks like if no new voters list is not gonna occur, it looked like if the elections is going to happen with the same list. So who is winning? It shows you that one man is controlling everything in a country. Could you believe that? Could you believe that? So there's no leader in the opposition that could walk around with his or her, or anybody in the opposition that could walk with their chest up. You can't do that. Because it's with a stroke of a pen that one man is determining how things are going to run. And it's been that way for 23 years. And another 5. People might want to get mad with me. That's fine. That is fine. But what? Are you just willing to walk in to another election and take the L and just walk away and call it, okay, we tried? If you ask me, this is not trying. You guys on the programs here, yes. Night in, night out, day in, day out, true freedom fighters. Where's the other half? Where's the other half? Who is going to bail the cat on the ground? Walking out of parliament doesn't answer the questions, or doesn't answer the questions that we are posing. Walking out of parliament doesn't present any answers. You walk out of parliament, what do you go and do? Do you go and spend the rest of the time in the streets with the people? The entire day? When you walk out of parliament, do you walk from Ortachong Center with your signs all the way into the teeth of Georgetown? No, you don't. No, you don't. So when you walk out, it's like a freebie. Yeah, it sends a message, but it's a freebie. We got to do better. This is the time. Look, when you see you sit down and they have congresses and they have all these things, and you fight and you go against your colleagues and stuff like that, and you fight for leadership. You fight to be in charge. Ladies and gentlemen, that's only the beginning. Now, when you get there, you got to execute. I fully well understand that we can fight and we can say we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But when we do get into the position, we see a lot of hurdles. I know that that can happen. It's just like if the opposition is to win this election and get into government, the people have to be patient. They don't know what kind of treasury they're going to inherit. They don't know these things. And I feel like that is what happened the last time with the last opposition, when the opposition took power in 2015. Look, you have to be transparent. You have to speak to the people. It is important that you speak to the people. Look, ladies and gentlemen, the guy out of Melanie, the guy who would have just crossed party lines out of Melanie, he came out and he put out a little snippet where he would have quoted that Dr. Hines and Rickford Burke does not care anything about extrajudicial killings. All they want is Barajagdio. So what this guy did, this guy took the VP and put him out there like if he is a treasure. I don't know where somebody would want with a piece of garbage like that. A guy who have failed for 23 straight years. What is the guy trying to promote? The guy from Melanie that I don't know what has taken up his brain. What is the optics that he's trying to put out there? And this is where the opposition needs to come out and bell the cat when it comes to these kind of things, because it creates an optic in the face of the Guyanese people. The optics is out there. Sometimes that's the last thing that they hear. When there's a press conference on Thursday and you have a press conference on Friday, you got to come to your press conference and bring some fire, refuting what was said on Thursday. But this is starting to look like a friendly game of cricket. And that don't sit well with me. I don't know about you guys in the audience, but that don't sit well with me. Better must come. I agree, better must come. But in order for better to come, better must be done. How can we sit in a better position where the Guyanese people can freely express themselves and their liberties is respected? They can see equity and prosperity in their country and not feel oppressed and not be living in poverty. We have seen the same trends decade after decade. How long are we going to continue to see the same trend? This is exactly what I was waiting to see. Because I've been in this thing now, I think it's going to be like 4 years soon. So I'm kind of getting to see the entire cycle and how things really work. And it doesn't sit well with me. I don't know about you guys. It don't sit well with me. It paints to me a picture how the PPP was able to sit there for 23 years. What I see today has painted me a picture. But you know what? It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And I don't care who leader you be. I don't care who leader you be. Everyone at some point has to put aside their ego and take advice. Everyone at some point has to put aside their ego and take advice. If you're going to be a great leader, you cannot just solely lead on your own understanding. That is the reason why they are what you call resources. And there are resources around you. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot keep over and over again using the same excuse MPs are not working. If MPs are not working, you pen a letter with a list to the leader of the list and saying that these individuals are not executing the way they should. You know, what I see, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't care what the repercussions are. I do not care. What I see a lot of selfishness. I see a whole lot of selfishness. That is what I'm seeing. Victory for this opposition is a walk in the park. If everybody could drop their egos and get to work. If everyone can drop their egos and get to work. There's nothing in place. There's no mechanism in place. When you look at the structure, there's nothing structured. There's nothing in place. You know, there's not consistent rallies. You should have cost of living rally over and over. You could even have a rally focusing on the cash grant amongst other things. You know, there's a lot that can be done. You're just not seeing consistency. I'm not saying that no one is on the ground. There are a few people out there that are working very hard. But a few is not good enough. A few is not good enough. Barry Jagdeer is not going to just show up on this press conference and having a few people work for him, a few people who've crossed over the other side and just take the momentum. No. We have leaders on the opposite side, and if they're not speaking up, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to speak up. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to speak up. We have to keep the resistance up. We have to keep the resistance up. I expected that all stakeholders in the opposition would have gotten together and would have taken GCOM to court? Nothing. We have no one sitting on the NRF board. I thought that would have been another court case. They're not getting the time they're supposed to get on NCM. There goes another court case. And there are many others. So I ask the question, what's the plan? What's the vision? Is the vision being shared on the ground to the Guyanese people? What is the vision? What's the vision? How is the election going to be won by the opposition? Is that an internal strategic thing? What is it? I'm just asking these questions. What is it going to be? Look, we have what we have right now. There's no change in opposition leaders. The leaders that are there is the leaders that we have to go to elections with. That is what it is. Don't worry when you see people on the outer fringes coming into your village and they drive into their village and they may give out this and give out that. Well, then you turn to that person and everybody's up in the air. Oh, is this person going to run for president? Is that person going to run? Ask that person what vision they have for the people and how they plan to accomplish it. And that's the same question I have for all the leaders in the opposition. What's the timetable for a formed coalition? What's the timetable for that? Christmas? We got to get better. We got to get better. You know, we got to get better. I know a lot of people. There are people that's going to be upset with me. But when, like I said before, when they go in front the mirror and they look at themselves and they think about what I've said, it's going to register. All right? We cannot be reactive. We got to get into a position where we are proactive. We had these people on the back foot all the time. Yes, 100,000 cash grant is sharing out. The message to the Guyanese people should be, hey, that's $100,000 after 6 years almost of extraction. What does that equate to? Nothing. After 6 years, that's the equity you have for the Guyanese people? That's not nearly good enough. It shouldn't just be take the $100,000 and vote them out. You got to give people more than that. You got to give to the Guyanese people more than that. They want to hear more than that. Dr. Hines is always willing to come on programs with me. Dr. Hines, I'm inviting you to come on here with me at your earliest convenience. The other two leaders, you two are equally invited to come on here. For a matter of fact, I don't mind having all three of you at the same time. The Guyanese people need to hear from you. The Guyanese people need to hear from you. You're their leaders. You've been there from the get-go. Do not sit down and allow yourself to be overshadowed. I've heard all three of you guys. And you guys have plans for the people. Come out and reinforce your plans. Come out on the larger platforms and reinforce your plans. When you talk about giving people hope, people can't get hope if they are hearing the crickets in the grass. Right? You don't want to hear the crickets in the grass. You want to hear the voices of your leaders in your ears preaching hope. when it comes to the Guyanese people, I'm willing to risk friendships and everything. Because we have a lot of people on the ground in Guyana that is poor, that is desolate, that is voiceless. And you know what? They're Guyanese. They're our brothers and sisters. Ethnic group doesn't matter to me. We need to take care of everybody. We need to restructure our constitution and restructure our laws around this winner-take-all nonsense. Is winner-take-all got Guyana exactly where it is, where you have just runaway trains. Guyanese, if you take your position, if you guys really get serious and take your position and demonstrate your people's power, you guys would slap the brakes right on that runaway train. Slap the brakes right on that runaway train. Enough is enough. It has been too long. It has been too long. All kind of deals being negotiated without the Guyanese people input, without transparency to the Guyanese people. The whole thing surrounding the deportees. Guyanese need to know is whose society you think they're going into. They're going to be deported into society with the people of Guyana. The people of Guyana need to know what is coming into their society. Y'all don't believe so? Not everybody got 12 and 13-foot fence with CCTV cameras and bodyguards outside with big guns. Or live in a private village. Like most of you big dignitaries. Ladies and gentlemen, I have said it, I think, last week or the week before, and I've said it over and over on programs. You guys need to really vet your leaders, man. You guys need to vet your leaders. You guys need to vet your leaders. You know, these days when you put somebody into government or you, because people believe that people are qualified to be leaders because of their riches. I differ on that. Because many say, oh, this person is already rich. If you bring a poor person in there, he's going to just try to get rich. I disagree with that. I believe that a leader that's coming in that is poor can relate to poor people. Right? And if that person is coming in and has integrity, that would work. But when you talk about rich people getting into government, they're getting into government to get more rich. They know what it's like to make those deals to get rich. They're coming in up here. They don't know what's going on down here. Even though some of them start down here. Jack Dio was a poor guy. But do you think Jack Dio got time with poor people? Do you? So there you go. We're at a crossroads right now. We're at a crossroads right now. And the installed government is gaining some momentum. My question to the opposition is, what do you have to say about that? And another thing too, people in the opposition are choosing to resign. I don't have a problem with people resigning. What I have a problem with is the timing of the resignations. That's where I have a problem. The timing. And within the structure of the opposition, we need to make sure they need to make sure that they're valuing their brothers and sisters. And nobody's getting chased out. Because if you're getting chased out from inside, when you get outside, all right, the optics outside is not positive. It's not a positive view. And words is going around and people is murmuring around and you have all this stuff going on. And you know something, you know what's sad about all this stuff that's going around? All of these people would have gained from being somewhat linked to government. And they forget totally about the poor Guyanese who is depending on them to execute on their behalf. Totally forgotten. Totally forgotten. And that is what's sad. All right? You see all high-level stuff? I can be on that whole high-level stuff, man. But I like to keep it real. I like to keep it real with the people on the ground. I like to keep it real. I think I have a call coming in. Caller, Wayne Caesar, good evening. You're on live.
I'm glad you touched on this thing of political entrepreneurs, as I call them, right? People have to be careful of leaders that they see that come and promise them things, especially these leaders that you think that they've accumulated wealth. They're millionaires, right? These leaders going to go right on your backs, all right, to become billionaires. You have to be careful how you're choosing your leaders in your community. And I love how you touch on these ones who are getting into politics to gain, and those are the political entrepreneurs. All right, I love how you touch on that. Something else you were talking about, and I was trying to get to you same time to talk about it. All right, but about the war in this camp, and I'm going to keep saying this here. We always bringing our story out to the street. And what we are doing, and you have those social media, and I'm going to say it again, those social media so-called influencers, as far as I call them a cool as an influencer, that love when a toxic story from within our camp is there boiling and they bring it to the street. All they are doing is doing a wonderful job for Byron Jagdeo at his campaign. If they continue like this, all right, they continue like this, he don't have to set up a tent or a podium or anything when come to campaign. They are doing the job for him. I am sorry, but we have to stop and think about the bigger picture. If the fighting going on with him, that is not our job to bring things to the street as social media people. We have to stop this nonsense. Another thing, people are looking at the amount of money the opposition leader is getting as his salary. All right? It's not a salary that he went and sit and negotiate. It could be maybe the opposition leader tomorrow morning, I will get the same salary. It's not something that you negotiate as an opposition leader. And I'm going to say this. Why do blacks have a problem when blacks gaining wealth? Why do we have a problem? When we call a spade tonight, why do we always check our people's money and don't check the other people's money when we're gaining wealth? Why is it a problem? Our people, you need to snap out from this trauma that has been left in us by the slave master. Snap out from it and think positive. Think about how we're going to become a better people united together. Remember this. You're going to go fast alone, but we're going to go far together. It's an old African phrase. I'm saying you go far alone. You go fast alone, but far together. Remember that. And unless we come together, We wouldn't reach anywhere.
That is true. I agree. I totally agree with. Totally agree with that caller. And just to add a little bit more to what you say, I believe that we need to see more. Dr. Hines is fine. He's doing his thing. I believe that we need more out of the other two leaders. It was nice to see Comrade Norton at MASH and stuff like that. But I believe that the people need more of Comrade Norton. His vision needs to be out there more. It is not out there enough.
And I'm glad like how you said that way. You talked about the Lamborghini fellow, right?
Right. Well, I just talk about people coming into the community. You understand me? Look, those people were not there from the get-go. That's number one. That's my number one point. I'm not hitting the person for coming into the community and sharing. Right? But the person wasn't there from the get-go. And I asked this: what is the person's political? What does a person's political portfolio look like? Because when you talk of leaders, when you talk about leaders, Wayne. When you talk about leaders, you talk about people who would have to go represent Guyana at the UN and all of these things. So you got to have the necessary skills and the necessary pedigree, all around, right?
You can't get like our 47 that we have here.
Right, I agree.
Like our 47, right? But I'm saying this to our leaders. Yes, that person got wealth. That person got money. We could do the same thing. We don't have to get money. What is wrong with going into communities as parliamentarians? I'm speaking to parliamentarians directly right now.
Okay.
What is wrong with going into community and sit down when somebody gets a barbecue? Sit down with them and spend some money there. Them boys in the corner knocking domino, sit down with them and knock domino. Them boys in the corner drinking a beer, buy a couple beers and give to them boys, you understand me? And chat with our behavior. Once you socialize with these people and you associate yourself with them, they're going to say, you know what? You are a person of the grass. You are touching the grass. You with us, right?
Wayne, not to interrupt you, and that's a very good point. I just want to interject quickly. All right, a leader, or let's say this. Let's use a building as an example. A building, a tall building, is as strong as its support. No, right, correct. Now, these MPs got to understand that they are the support structure of the leader of the opposition. I'll give the leader on that. I'll give him on that because I am aware that not all MPs are working with the leader. They are rogue. They are rogue, doing their own thing. And that's shameful. For example, the MP in Linden. Okay? I'm going to stop there for now and let you continue, though. Go ahead.
Yes, I wish that the dashiki that we wear the next time choke him from our ancestors sending a message to him. When he wear that dashiki, our ancestors should send a message to him and choke him. And we're going to continue with this. Yes, this fellow have got a lot of support. People are calling him president this and president that. No one knows where he is politically. And there's a void. There's a void. And, it's a social issue. When you see people run out there and they're begging for someone to hold on to and say, this is my guy, this is my person. And if my guy or my person decides not to run and not to endorse anyone, right, that leaves a void. And those people who saw him as the savior will never vote for no one. And majority is going to be on our side, bro.
Very good point.
But the majority is going to be on our side. If that person decides not to run or not to endorse anyone, our people will not come out and vote because they see this guy as their savior. And when savior say some things like savior saying no, do not do it.
But Wayne, I want to make a statement here tonight. To all our listeners and viewers, and I want you guys to listen carefully. All right, and all the social media pundits, everybody who presents on social media. I want to make this point. The three leaders we have in place right now is Comrade Norton, Comrade Hines, and Comrade Hughes. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the three leaders. All right? We have to rally around them. But at the same time, we have to rally. We don't have a choice. Look, Wayne, you cannot be in a position where you want to gain power at all costs. Okay, we're not going to sell our integrity to gain power. These are three authentic leaders. Okay, and the people need to rally around them. Yes, there are other people who may have the financial backing that can help the party. Then so be it. That's inner workings. They can deal with that. I wouldn't get into that. I would personally not get into that. Right? But you want to win the election and you want to win it with integrity. Over to you, Wayne.
You know, and here we go again. A lot of these, as you talk about the social media people, a lot of them don't even know how things work. Because I said to one of them, you don't want this person, right? You don't want that person. That person is not fit to lead, right? Good. Okay, what does it take? What's the solution? What does it take to get rid of that person or to put someone in legally? You understand me? You know what that person said to me? I don't know. I said, well, what the hell are you talking about? Whenever you say something, you must know what the solution is. So don't sell things to people, right? Don't sell things to people and you don't know how this thing works. And you said the right thing. We have three authentic leaders. These are the people we have to rally around.
Correct. Election is upon us.
Don't say that you want this person to run. This person is fit to run to lead the coalition and you don't even know. You do not even know how you're going to get around to get someone else to lead the coalition. What the hell are you saying? You know, what are you selling people? And the most dangerous thing that these people don't realize, they have a following. And I'm going to say this again. You should know in advertising and in marketing, you hit something 15 times, our frontal cortex are going to remember that. And that is going to become facts. And you're going to start rallying around that. So they continue to do their lives and continue to repeat one thing all the time and forgetting what is the bigger picture, who is the demon and the devil that is facing us up front. And we're not dealing with that.
You know, I want to say this also. The three leaders at the top here, again, I just called their names so everybody know the three leaders that I'm talking about. All of these guys, they are friends. Mm-hmm. They are friends. Mm-hmm. And I need to see that friendship bleeding right into their politics. Yes. I want that friendship to bleed right into their politics.
Yes.
Understanding that the Guyanese people have a need. All right?
I know Dr. Hines was bleeding. Like
yes.
Has been bleeding. Right? I know that for a fact. Let me quickly say this. You talked about empty treasury, what's not and what's for. Mm-hmm. Our national debt just continued to grow.
What?
I just see a 1-point-something billion or some kind of World Bank money again to do road work and what's not. During this week, I was looking at a program. And the people of Oman, you know, Oman is a big...
Yes. It's an oil producer, yes, correct.
Right. The people of Oman are given lands. That is their cash grant group. Giving lands, giving money to start businesses, giving money to start farmlands, etc.
But wait. When you look at that, that's a great idea. Okay? Mm-hmm. And you could see that in those countries, the government is actually thinking about their people. Wait. Guyana is different, man. Guyana is quite different.
This will be how.
Yes, I agree.
And don't forget, and I will not miss this one, and the creation of an apartheid state. We better look at it carefully. You know, one of my favorite countries, and that might be my home at some point in time. I'm not ashamed to say, to South Africa. And I study that system, and I study how it turned into an apartheid state, even Zimbabwe too. And how the people were forced off the lands and put behind the mountains. And when you travel for miles on end, it's one man owning this big fancy land. And it's what kind of man.
Well, that's the same trend. That's the same trend that is happening in Guyana.
There's a parallel.
But Wayne, I want to segue to this question here quick. I want you to stay online, though. You can stay online. I'm looking at a question from Ms. Desiree Simon. This time has come to stop speaking in general terms, but instead to break down the issues so that we could know who is responsible for obstructing the work of the opposition. I am tired of everything negative being laid at Mr. Norton's feet. You know, and I'm not going to disagree with Ms. Simon's statement here, but what I would say, in the real world, when you're a leader, that is what happens. Everything is laid at your feet. Whatever happens is laid at your feet as the leader. But what I would like to see from the leader of the opposition is for him to stop covering for people. For him to stop covering for people and be transparent and let the Guyanese people know who is not working with him. Right? If you're transparent and the people know what's going on, then your shortcomings, the people would be able to deal with it better because they're like, hey, he's not getting the necessary support that he needs. You know, we need to push harder. We need to push harder on the MPs that are representing us in our constituency because they are not supporting the big picture. They're not supporting the vision of the leader. You know, Wayne, I want to say this. Wayne. MPs are responsible for projecting the views of the people, okay, in their constituency, you know. And a lot of these decisions that are made by MPs not to support Mr. Norton and not to support this leader, they are unilateral decisions, you know, and that's not right either.
But you know what, Wayne? You know why they can afford to do this? You know why? It's because they're not voted. Their seats do not come from
right. Vote. Correct.
You're selected.
Right.
Someone put you there. If you were being voted in there by, let's say, some from belt in the constituency, you got to win the majority of votes inside there to put you in, you would have seen them working. You would have seen them working.
Right. I agree. Well, maybe that is something that they need to pivot and change, you know, because this is not good. This is not good what is happening here. Or the selection process needs to be much better. I believe that people who are in parliament, people who should be in parliament is outside of parliament, and people who should not be in parliament is in parliament.
Yep. And something as I said to somebody today, you have those who are disgruntled, right? What are they willing to sacrifice? Are they willing to sacrifice that 200,000 and that duty free and all the perks? Are they willing to sacrifice those and walk away? No, they will not. You know what I mean? They're not sacrificing anything to, you know, because they're disgruntled, but they're still staying here. You still want to stay in the abuse. You understand? As you call it.
But Wayne, I want to pivot to something because we are kind of like getting into that window. We are getting into that window where elections can be called. We're getting into that window. And there is not a formed coalition. All right. I know if my listeners and viewers here are not concerned, I'm sure they are. I am very, very concerned. Extremely concerned. Because if election is called, there's going to be a hustling and a bustling. Okay? Right now, everybody's sitting down. Oh, we're going to talk about the formation of a coalition at the end of March. We're going to get to the end of March just now. Today's the first day of March. We're going to get to the end of the March just now. And then you're going to hear, oh, sometime in April. You know, the trend just continues. This is not good enough. It is not good enough. As much as people may want to be upset, this is not good enough. We've been talking about this since last year. Why are we all the way here now? And, you know, nothing is formulated as yet. You know, why are we all the way here and we don't have a new voters list? We don't have biometrics. We have nothing but the same old list. And they're talking about cleanse. Cleanse what?
Yep.
What has the PPP ever cleansed?
Nothing. Nothing. You know, it's sad. You know, they keep promising we doing this, then we do. Come on, people, y'all gotta call it quickly, because this is like having a girlfriend for 10 years and promising her next year you're gonna marry her, but she's still around with you. How long are we gonna take that? We're gonna find an expert person. This is what's gonna happen. How long are we gonna stick in this and here? Oh, next month we're gonna do this. Next month we're gonna do that. No, it's about time. Yeah, time is of essence.
I agree with that. I agree.
You know, if they're going through the same list, etc., election could start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, you just have to have good people at those polling places also. You got to have good, pertinent individuals, people who are honest. There's a lot of things. Look, for you to use this same list, for you to use this same list to go to elections, there's a lot of things that has to work. You understand me? Flawlessly for the opposition if they are to be victorious with this bloated list. A lot has to look. You got to make sure that people are getting their breakfast, their lunch, their dinners on time. You got to make sure that your people are not leaving. Yeah, you got to make sure that your people are not leaving and go to the bathroom and having to do this without proper coverage. There's a lot of things that has to be done. Are these preparations already done or not? You know, you look, even when you talk about GCOM announcing their readiness for an election, it is also the parties who need to announce their readiness to the people. That, hey, we are ready. These are the mechanisms that we have put in place. You don't have to tell the people everything, every single thing. Certain things you want to keep internal. You know why? You want to catch the PPP with their hand in the cookie jar. So certain things you want to keep quiet. I agree with all of that. But you got to say something to the people. If the people ain't hearing from you, how confident can they be?
Correct.
How confident can they be? You can't have a leader who ain't coming out and talking to the people, and when people call on him, people are upset. No, you can't be a leader and hide behind the door. You got to come out. People got to see you.
Yep. That's a fact.
And how does these things happen, Wayne? It happens when you have good advisors around you. You can't just have bodies. You got to have people who have the knowledge, who understands what's going on, who understands Barajagdi on the PPP apparatus.
Yeah, you gotta study.
Correct.
You gotta study those who you're coming up against. In every sport or game that you play, you look videos over and over and over and over again to understand your opponent. You know me, to know what you have to do. Yeah.
Look. I'm looking at the comment. I'm looking at the comment here from one Eon Bino. And Eon, thank you. You're always on the program. Wayne, if the opposition leader ain't doing his job, other people will do it for him. Kudos to Team Mohammed. Well, Mr. Eon Bino, while you say that, I'm gonna pose back a question to you. Have Mohammed share a vision that he has to the people of Guyana? Because you can't be a leader without a vision. You gotta have a vision. You know, has he shared a vision for the people of Guyana, or is he just, gonna be helping the poor? Right? So you can't anoint somebody a leader, if the person didn't agree, or if the person have not, demonstrated that, hey, I am running for leadership. The guy have never came out and said that. So to throw him in there, it's hard.
People can't separate philanthropy.
Right, from leadership, right. It's two different things, right.
Right now, people can't tell the difference right now. It's not a smart question. It's not a smart comment, because they cannot. It's the difference between philanthropy, right, and political work. It's a big difference. understand? You have to wear it all to give. So what? You become a philanthropist. You understand me? You're running for politics. You're saying nothing politically. You're not doing anything politically. Political leaders are not there to come and give people handouts. That is not the job of political leaders.
Correct. Well, I
they are fooling themselves.
I agree, Wayne. Political leaders are going to be in place and could make decisions whereby the people would get cash grants and they would put certain measures in place to mitigate, to mitigate poverty, which segues into this. Mr. Norton does have great policies when it comes to mitigating poverty. Okay? Look, everybody knows that Mr. Norton has had a history of being a groundsman on the ground with the people. So sometimes when you ascend to leadership where you're over everything, sometimes it takes some time to adjust. But that is why you have people around you that you could check in and say, hey, how am I doing? Is there anything you see that I should do? These kind of things. You got to drop your ego. I do that a lot. I drop my ego a lot. All right? Okay. All right, Wayne, we're approaching, we're coming up on wrap up time. All right, we're gonna talk. Yes. Excellent conversation. Thank you so much, Wayne.
Thank you, bro.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, as I prepare to close, all right, I'm gonna say this. We have 3 excellent leaders, okay, at the top when you look at the opposition hierarchy. 3 leaders that I believe are competent men, okay? They have their own strengths. And of course, everyone would have an area of improvement that they need to work on. Okay? But I believe that your boss is your boss. Not your former boss is still your boss. The leader of the PNCR is no other than Aubrey Compton Norton. We are going into an election. If the opposition wants to win the election, I would say to everyone, their best bet is to rally behind the leader that is there. There's no way that you could change leaders now. Okay? One other thing. Aubrey Norton has never been president of Guyana. All right? So we cannot preempt and crucify him before he gets there. All right? Like everyone else, I believe he would need his fair chance. And the other 2 leaders, Comrade Nigel Hughes and Dr. David Hines. Because you don't know who's going to be presidential candidate and all this stuff yet. That stuff haven't been mapped out. That stuff haven't been worked out as yet. But what I'm saying is that however it goes, whomever that leader is, when the smoke clears, that is the leader that everybody needs to come together and rally around. Stop the internal murmuring. Okay? This is about the people. This is not about your disgruntledness. This is about the people. Thank you, Lemon. A divided house cannot stand. I say amen to that. All right? A divided house cannot stand. Lemon is going far this evening. Lemon is painting the picture for everyone who have second thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our leaders. They're in place. All we ask is that they get together and put together this coalition quickly. We are going to fight. We are not at an advantage financially. We're at a great disadvantage because the assets, okay, and the revenue of the country is being used, okay, to spike up the PPP bid for another term. The coalition does not have that latitude of having that capital that they can go there and push. But I want the people to understand. I want the Guyanese people to understand. Okay? Don't let a $100,000 cash grant get you drunk. Okay? Before that, you've got nothing. Many of you still have your pink slip from the COVID grant in your hand. All right? I don't care what narrative is being painted on Thursday. I don't care about Thursday. All right? Don't let that stick in your head. All right? Better can be done. And I agree with the AFC slogan, better must indeed come. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for all your comments. This was a very fruitful show. Miss Francine Cruz, good evening. Karen, welcome. Good evening. Shondell Griffith, good evening. We have now come to the end of our program. I would like to say to you again, in closing, Lemon, thank you. A divided house cannot stand. All right, it's going to fall to pieces. So let's all hold hands. Let's come together in unity. As I leave tonight, my brothers and sisters, the love in me sees the light in each and every one of you. I love you guys. Have a great evening. Until next Saturday, so long. Good night.